Hey, welcome to another episode of Making Billions. I'm your host, Ryan Miller, and today I have my very good friend, Dr. Siva. Dr. Siva is the CEO of VetCheck Development Fund. This is a fund that's designed to stand up urgent care veterinarian practices across the U.S., and we're expanding in the U.S. Dr. Siva is on to some fantastic things, and I cannot wait to have him share his story and his vision of how he's growing his fund for both funders and founders. Welcome to the show, Dr. Siva.
Hi, Ryan. Thank you so much. I'm
Yeah.
glad to be on the show.
It's so great to have you here. Now, Dr. Siva, tell us a little bit about what you got going on. You're a veterinarian. You've been practicing for a little while. Bring us up to speed. How did you get started in this industry? Really quick, and then we'll get on to exactly what you got going on and some of the really cool stuff that you've been able to produce. So how did you get started?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a veterinarian by training, and I've been practicing it since 2012. I did practice, as a general practitioner, emergency veterinarian. And, while I was doing this general practice and veterinary medicine, I saw there is a huge gap that's unmet for the pets and pet parents, which is urgent care for pets, for us, if you are sick, if you are not super critically sick, we can go to an urgent care facility and then get the, things taken care of, which is not existing for the pets. So, I thought, there is a huge need for this type of care. So I started urgent care practice in 2018 in the suburb of Indianapolis. Which is, which has got severe and, very good recognition from the community. And everybody is so happy that we exist. And everybody is so appreciative that, we are there to help their pets and pet parents when they need it the most. So then I was like, okay, this is really good. And, why can't we expand this type of care across the country? Because there is a huge need for this.
Right.
In fact, there are 30,000 veterinary hospitals in the U.S. general practices.
Yeah.
So, if you look at, urgent care, at least there is one urgent care needed for every 10 general practices, which is like 3,000 hospital opportunity. So what I would like to do is I would like to expand VetCheck across the country so that, the care is available for those pets and pet parents in those communities. So that's how, I was thinking about this. Then I came across, different options, how I can do that. While I was exploring those options, I thought, okay, there are several investors who would like to get into veterinary medicine, but they don't have means to do that because, either they don't have license or, they don't have means to invest into the model. So I created this model who, the investors can invest into us. And grow with us. That's how I developed this VetCheck Development Fund. Yeah. So here we are talking to you today.
Great story. So for many of you listeners out there, you might be wondering, okay, venture capital, what's going on? Help me connect the dots. So what we're doing, and the reason why I invited you, Dr. Siva, is the thing that I really liked about what you've got going on is given the current economic conditions or pricing in a recession, potential, we'll see what the scale of that is. But a lot of the things, and especially a holy grail for a lot of investors, whether it's private equity, venture capital, whatever that might be, is saying, how well does this thing hold up to traditional business cycles, meaning the boom and bust of economies that we go through? And one of the things that I really loved and respected about your fund and the way that you had set this up is that it's quite, I don't want to say immune, but it's quite robust during economic downturns. So, with an economic downturn on people's minds, we're really bringing forward guests on the show that are able to say, hey, you don't have to fear about it as long as you're placed in one of the preferable asset classes, which medical tends to be quite robust. Would you agree?
Yeah, it is. We have seen that, we have gone through several cycles of, recession and also several cycles of COVID.
Yeah.
In COVID times, veterinary business, in fact, doubled up, tripled up most of the revenues, and it's going really good. I think, we can say, it is recession-proof, which is, something that all the investors should be aware of as well.
Yeah, that's right. And again, this isn't no part of what we're talking about is a solicitation for investment. We're just talking about your world and what you got going on. So it's all opinion. Everyone's situation is different. So obviously, anything that we talk about, treat it as entertainment, and do it or don't do it, but don't do anything based on what we talk about here. So that being said,
build the knowledge.
Exactly. Yeah, we're here just to talk about really cool things that tend to stand up against like economic recession. So that being said, so here we are. You started, I believe, back in 2012. You started practicing veterinary medicine. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, in 2012.
Yep. Okay, and then, like you said, you opened VetCheck franchise in, I believe, 2018 in Indiana, correct? And that's where you're at now. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So why did you end up going out on your own? Maybe walk us through that. Where's the wisdom? What do people don't understand? Like what was the genesis of VetCheck?
Sure, definitely. And like I said, there is, unmet need for pets and pet parents in the communities. So, I thought, VetCheck will fill that gap and, we complement the bridge between the general practitioner because we open in the evenings and weekends when general practitioner is ready to close. We step in and help their pets and emergencies. They're always 3 to 4 hours, and also they can focus on most of the critical cases while the urgent care practice can take care of non-critical emergencies that arise by the time you are home or by the time you are back from the trip, something like that. So the reason why I I went on my own is there is a huge need, and growing up my goal is to help the communities that I live in. So that's the purpose. So I thought this VetCheck will serve my purpose. So that is the reason why I started this. And again as we see, so far we have helped close to 15,000 pets as of now within last 4 years.
That's incredible.
That is remarkable.
Yeah, I love that. And so here we are, right? You're practicing veterinary medicine. You decide to go out on your own, and from what you mentioned is you saw that there was a gap between general practice and emergency care. In fact, that existed, and so you created urgency care, kind of a unique space that exists in we'll call it people medicine. So it exists on this side of the aisle, but not so much on your side of the aisle. So you brought that business model back to the veterinary practice, and then you're allowing other people. And we'll get into exactly how you're standing that up and expanding your business as well. So here you are. You've got an urgent care facility which exists between general practice and emergency. So you've created a new sector that that supports pets and pet parents, as you like to call it. So what exactly, walk us through, and the listeners, walk us through what this means for your business model. So you found a gap, you filled that gap. What does that mean?
So, as a business perspective, when there is a, need, when we identify a problem, then we can come to a solution. So this is the solution for those pets and pet parents to bridge the gap between the general practitioner and the emergency veterinarian. And during this time, we could able to see more pets at the same time. Because we are open during the non-conventional hours and it is convenient for them. There is obviously there is convenience fee for the pet parents. Which is another which is a good stream of revenue for the income wise, and we grew organically and tremendously, and we can see up to 40% of the profits, which is huge in the veterinary industry. In general, you would see general practitioner, you would see 15% or low teens, close to 20s. In the emergency medicine, you would see 20 to 25%. But being in the urgent care model, and the systems and processes that we created, we are seeing up to 40% profit margins, which is really interesting to see in our portfolio and also in our business.
Man, 40% net profit margin.
Yeah, it is net profit margin.
Geez, so 40% net profit margin. So here you are. This kind of sounds like a blue ocean moment where you're able to kind of take two different areas, a lot of businesses, a lot of competition, a lot of things going on, and you said, hey, maybe I can create a third hybrid place, and you're certainly getting the profit margins to justify that. So good for you. That is absolutely incredible. So here you are. You've created a market for yourself that hardly exists.
Mm-hmm.
And you've done it in a way that generates 40% net profit margin. All right.
Yeah. Thank
Man,
you.
that is incredible. Yeah, high five to you. So that's awesome. So here we are. Let's moving along on this. So you've created this sector. You've got super healthy profit margins. Now you're expanding the VetCheck urgent care franchise. Did I hear that right?
Yeah. We are getting into franchise model as well. Again, the reason for the franchising or the development fund is, to be able to provide, the care to achieve our mission of helping the pets and pet parents in those communities. So,
Right.
I was thinking, in 2020, we see there is a huge, appreciation from the community, and the pets are getting better and the pet parents are very happy. Okay, what can I do to expand this model across the country?
Right.
Whether do I have to do it on my own, or can I do, what are the avenues to be able to expand? So then I thought of, I talked to a couple of friends like you, Ryan, and also, there are some other people, who are my, business advisors. I talked to them, and, a couple of them, they suggested, probably, two options. One, you can go to bank and ask for, establishing your own urgent care hospitals, which is again, banks, they don't give the loans unless you have your life on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I thought, okay, that's not going to be viable. So then second option is, why can't I have people who would like to invest into the business and who want
Right.
to, be able to establish their own hospital? Then,
Sure.
okay, that's where the franchise system came from. I was like,
Yes.
okay, there are so many people who are franchise owners for Applebee's, McDonald's, like that. So, why can't we have them invest something very meaningful and purpose driven?
Yeah.
So, we created, I started thinking about that, and I talked to my attorney here in Indy, and he is really helpful, and he gave me really good suggestions. His name is Josh Brown, just to let you know.
Okay. Yeah.
But, that's when, I started thinking about franchising. That started in 2020. Then the paperwork and, the trademarks, all of that, it took until 2021. How the system works, unfortunately.
Yeah, it takes a while. Yeah.
It takes a while. So, in 2021, we are live at, one of the biggest conference in the veterinary industry, which is called VMX, Veterinary Medicine and Expo. So that's where we went live. You don't believe, in that conference, we were live at that conference, and in the conference, we got one franchisee signed up.
That's awesome.
And
so you're growing.
Yeah. So she signed up, and she was she's a vet tech. She had her emergency practice. She sold that emergency practice. Then she's ready to get on to next phase of the journey. Then she came on board and she signed up on the conference itself. And since then we've been growing tremendously. As of now, we have 3 coming up pretty soon, and then we have at least 20 on the table. We are talking to different people. There are some people
20.
There are some people who want to take over all North Carolina, and then there are some people who want to take all over the Utah. So, it's growing really crazily.
Yeah.
Also, let me tell you, Ryan, this is one thing. We are not doing any sort of advertising as of now. It is all organic growth, and it is all, people hearing from people. They're seeing the potential. So, okay, it's helping people. Again, that's how the franchise came on board.
Wow. So you just started in 2021 and you already got 20 applications without even advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think when you show a 40% net profit margin, I think that speaks for itself. So you've already got an operational, obviously you've got your own practice where it started, you got your business model, you were able to actually show, hey, this system works. That's as a funder, an investor, that's very positive to say, hey, there's less business model risk. We're able to figure this thing out, and we've already got a proven track record, so we're able to kind of show that this is beyond theory. We're actually talking about reality. So that is fantastic. So really, I think what I'm hearing is it you really just help both customers and investors to participate in really that med tech business that just happens to be somewhat recession proof as well. Would you say that's a fair summary?
Yes, it is. I mean, it's really valuable for sure.
Yeah. So now, so you've got franchises rolling out now, right? You talked about you got one, you got a couple. So I think, talking to you before, I think you said your first franchise started in 2021 was it Pennsylvania? Is that right?
Yeah, Pennsylvania.
Okay. So talk about your first franchise. Well, like, what was that like? Bring us down to that moment. What was that like? I'm sure there's learning experience. What was that like to get your first one? All right. We all love our first investor, our first business, right. That moment where you're like, I'm no longer talking about it. This is actually happening. My expansion plans are working. Bring us into that moment of your first franchisee. How did that play out for you?
Definitely. It is not smooth ride. I will tell you for sure. And
it is not. It is not. And you got that right.
Yeah. And at the same time, our team thoroughly enjoyed helping this franchisee because, we had some hiccups, where, the landlord is not as friendly as we thought. And, the construction plans did not go as we planned. So, this is not what happened when I started. I have 2 corporate-owned hospitals and I have 1 general practice. It never happened to me. I was like, everything was smooth sail. I was like, okay, this is going to be smooth sail as well. But, but the thing is, at the end, the lessons we learned, and at the same time, those lessons we can help other investors and other people who wants to come on board with the franchise system. We can, share those lessons and, we can avoid those mistakes. And, but, at the end, the franchisee is very happy that, we could able to step in. Although she had 10, 15 years of experience in the veterinary industry, she still had some issues. So, think about people who don't have any experience. So I tell them, we have a system in place. Just plug and play. That's what I advise you, because she had some experience and she thought she could able to handle some of those things, but things have changed. And as we evolve into technology space, and also as we evolve times, COVID times, or pre-COVID and post-COVID, there is a huge difference. So there is supply chain issues. So there are so many things that are factoring into this. So we are learning all those lessons, and we are ready to give away that knowledge to other investors who wants to come on board.
Exactly. So the learning is done, right? You went through that. You had a great person come on who had some experience, but maybe not in other ways. And I think what I'm hearing is saying, hey, man, we offer a turnkey solution. So you just be able to practice your art, we'll call it, through the medicine that you love to practice so much. And the business processes, all that stuff's figured out.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Go be a good doctor, and your profit margins will work well in your franchise, but also in the VetCheck development fund for you as the general partner as well. So you started 2021. You stood this thing up in Pennsylvania. Then you flipped it into a fund in that same year. And now you've got a second and a third plus 20 more in the pipeline. I mean, thanks for coming on the show. I was surprised you had any time, but certainly honored to have you. Yeah. So now, where is it going?
It's, like I said, our goal is to establish 100 clinics within next 5 years. So that is the vision that we have, and that is the vision our team believes in. So I want to let you know, I have great team, who is there to support me through thin and thick. They are there for me, they are they are my, kind of my core team that helps me to move forward. Otherwise, without them, I cannot do this.
That's right.
So our team believes in, 100 clinics within next 5 years. So that's where the development the development fund comes in place, while establishing the franchises, which is, I would say, that is an active investment opportunity for an active investor. So if an investor is passive and, they don't want to deal with daily activities into the business, then this fund is kind of, passive income opportunity where, we, the investor can invest with us and we use those funds to establish these vet checks across the country.
Perfect. Wow. So and then you're going in. So a goal of 100, good for you, man. You're someone that gets it done. I love that. So we're opening up. I believe you mentioned before you're opening in Dallas. I think you got another one in Indiana as well.
Yep.
So you're well on your way, man. You got your system. You got people signing up. This is absolutely incredible. This is and look, a show called Making Billions. This is the dream, man.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about it. You're saying, hey, I started out. I had a skill. I use that skill, kind of built up a thing, and now I'm expanding it. And boy, you're building that empire on a very robust business model, not only from the business model standpoint, but also the financials as well.
So it is the dream that we are living on. At the same time, I will tell you a small story here for the listeners. I have a 7-year-old son. His name is Ashwath.
Yes.
When I asked him, what is, his dream, he would say, Daddy, I want to put a VetCheck everywhere in the country. Okay. That's his dream. I was like, man. I'm like, okay, the next generation is also ready to come with me. But, which is really amazing because he's hearing all these conversations that I'm having with people like you and also, people like franchisees who comes on board. Then, he picked it up from there. That's what our team believes in.
Oh, I absolutely love that. And you bring up a good point, and I don't want to skip past that. So one of the things, one of the great things about what I do is I get to talk to a lot of cool people with an amazing amount of energy, ambition, and brilliance. It's literally the best. And so one of the things that I hear from you and other people, or I believe I'm hearing, is, hey, man, we're going to make money. We're going to expand and all that stuff. But really what matters is the next generation. What matters is the legacy. Yeah. And, it's not so much the money that you make. I mean, yes, it's nice, obviously, but I'm looking at making an impact before making an income. And I'm not going to neglect the income. We're here to make an impact, whether that is for our children, but also, partners, investors, all these people that are involved and that are supporting you. You're not just building a business, you're building a legacy that people can, somewhat come and warm themselves around your bonfire and really produce something that I think a lot of people will certainly appreciate in their life and have that blessed. So through you and your efforts, so many people are benefiting. And most importantly,
at the end,
your little guy.
Yeah. At the end, I mean, this is what I believe. That is a very valid point that you brought up, Ryan. You are inspiring, the next generation. At the same time, you are providing value to people who wants to work hard and people who wants to make a change in the community, which is huge. As an individual, we may be able to influence, if we can influence at least 10 individuals or 100 individuals in our lives, those 100 individuals can influence another 100 individuals. That goes on, cycle goes on like that, which is, what I believe in. And that's my mantra for my life.
I love that. And providing that influence in a positive direction. You and I are certainly aligned on that value. It's like, we'll make whatever we make, but at the end of the day, we want to do it the right way. And what that means is there's kind of a social, emotional, even almost spiritual component to that, where we're saying, hey, we want to affect everybody on every level. Yeah. Not just, hey, we're going to make a bunch of money. Yeah, that's cool, but that's not enough to really fire you up. Maybe for some people it is. But we're saying, hey, man, really, if you want to join us on this journey, and I do it with my stuff as well, is saying it's got to be more than just money. Yeah. It's what the money will provide for you, right? Maybe it's beautiful experiences for people you care about. Maybe it's like this amazing house where you have everybody over for Thanksgiving or whatever it is. You're just saying, hey, I'm building something that's beautiful and I want other people to be inspired by it.
Yeah. If you take care of people, if you take care of your mission and people, money will follow. Like you don't work for money. If you work for what you believe in, all the other things, like nature will come together to help you to push forward. So which is.
Yeah, and to that point, we're having a real philosophical discussion, which I love. I love to do it. Yeah. So to that point, I heard it a while back that look, man, even if you can't find meaningful ways to contribute to your environment, the law of nature alone will eliminate you.
Yep, exactly.
So it's important to find, if you even buy into that, if you do, it's important to find how can I meaningfully contribute during the time that I have here. And you found this lesson to say, not only am I going to help, as you call pet and pet parents, but we're going to help income. We're going to help people with these bonds of pets and pet parents, and the love that they have, and we're really going to encapsulate that mission of compassion and caring, but also helping people to advance and progress. So that's super admirable what you're doing.
Sure, thank you.
So, rounding third base here on our discussion, for our funders and founders, like maybe walk me through a little bit about what makes this business, this baby that you built. It's like your dream. You're building this thing. Like, in your opinion, and from what you seen, what is attractive to both funders and founders, or I guess in your case, franchisees? What are they saying? What do you think they're saying? I mean, what's the draw here?
So, I will briefly touch on both the topics, both funders and founders. I know I can speak on that in an entire episode, but
yeah.
So for the funders, for example, if you are looking for, your money to, invest into a fund, so, I will help you understand why you need to invest with us. Ours is, a tangible asset that you are investing into, where, you can see the actual clinic. And at the same time, you are investing into something that you may use. For example, if your pet is sick, you may be able to take your pet to VetCheck. That is what you are investing into. And I can definitely confidently say that veterinary industry is recession-proof, where, our financials may go down, but it's not going to go completely zero like a stock market.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm not saying anything against the stock market, but I have invested in stocks as well. But at the same time, here, I'm telling you why, VetCheck is different. And the pet population. Look at the pet population growth within last 1 year, 2 years. there is 30 to 40% increase in the pet population. Just in the US. Wow. 75% of households have pets, which is like 90 million pets within the United States. Just think of that, in Canada or, in Europe, how fast it is growing. So people are,
it's a big market.
Yeah, pets, that's a kind of an emotion than, pet is being like, the human-animal bond that is growing rapidly, and people are, more and more vested in their pets.
Yeah.
Which is again, our industry, pet healthcare industry, is like $40 billion industry as of now, which is poised to grow, exponentially within next 5 to 10 years. So, this is the starting phase. I know, already 40 billion, you may think that's a lot of money, but I strongly believe that is the starting point. We are still going to see a huge increase in the pet healthcare spending and also pet healthcare industry. So you are coming into, that much, investment. And, obviously, like I said, our profit margins, I can speak for them. I've been, we have been, running this hospital in Fishers, and also, we have one more corporate location. So we've been operating from last 4 years. And we consistently see, ramping up, and also, we consistently see profit margins 40 to 50%. And, at the same time, nothing is guaranteed in the future performance. But, I am seeing, we have established set protocols and also set procedures that will help us to drive to, replicate the success of what we have been doing. And again, we are planning to expand across the USA. At the same time, there is a plenty of opportunity. I was talking to Ryan other day. He's from Canada.
Yeah.
So he see a big opportunity in Canada. And I was talking to a friend. Yeah, I was talking to a friend in Saudi Arabia. He wants to open some VetChecks in Saudi Arabia. So,
Wow.
it's growing crazily. There is a huge opportunity, and in 5 years, I'm really confident that we will surpass that 100 hospital goal. At least I can see. I want to be conservative. That's why I was saying 100, but you will see at least 200 hospitals within next 5 years. With the way it is going.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I just want to pause there and really let everything you just say register to our listeners. This is a guy that's going to have 200 hospitals. Like the scale of that vision. I'm catching it, man. I'm picking up what you're laying down. This is humongous. So a recession-proof business be like, yeah, come at me. Like we're ready.
Yeah.
We've got lots of cushion. Our business model is solid. Popular market is growing, both in the U.S. as well as international. And people are already reaching out to you international. So
yeah.
Man, you're opening my. I mean, I knew it was good. I didn't know it was that good. So, I mean, I could see why you always got a smile on your face. I thought it was just because you're a good guy, and you are. But it's like, okay, well, now I really know why you got a smile on your face. So this is fantastic, man. And the fact that you're sharing it with other people, I think that's so admirable. Yeah. I mean, you could have just franchised this thing and been crazy rich, man, but you're opening this up and saying, hey, I built this thing and it's really, really good, and I want to share that and allow other people to benefit from this business model that I've created.
Yeah.
So it's super cool, and building it in a way that you're healing. I mean, I've said this before, I'm a firm believer that the world needs more healers.
Yeah.
In all forms. And so, it's such a privilege for me to be able to have you on the show, have a healer like yourself who also knows how to make a buck. I mean, you're firing on all cylinders, man. Yeah. You're in the prime of your career. This is absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
All right. So here we are, funders and founders. I mean, recession-proof, your words on mine. It's very robust in a recession environment. You're opening across the USA, you're expanding in international. The pet population is growing. I mean, yeah, you couldn't ask for a better time. So this is absolutely incredible. I think, man, you're really onto something. This is going to be fun for me just to watch from my seat and watch all the success that you absolutely deserve.
Yeah.
So
I also want to touch.
Go ahead.
I also want to touch one more thing for the founders. The unique thing that we are offering with the VetCheck is, entrepreneurship and equity for the veterinarians, which does not exist in our field as of now. I can, confidently say that there is nobody who is willing to give away the equity in the practice to the practicing veterinarian. So, our field is becoming, a point where, all these, private equity firms, they're coming and they're, purchasing these hospitals at 10, 20 multiples, which a general veterinarian cannot even fathom to, think about owning a hospital on his own. So,
forget it.
Yeah, as a VetCheck, we have to keep that, equity for the veterinarian who is working hard in that hospital. So what we are doing differently is we are going to, for the time and the work you are contributing for a VetCheck, we are going to give you some common units to the veterinarian who is going to work in that facility, which gets vested over a period of time. So which is, something that we are making a difference for the veterinarians who wants to own, veterinary practices as well. So they don't have to put any money down, which is, another unique thing with this model. So we are giving you away the equity in the practice.
Yeah, man, so I'm putting myself in the shoes of someone as a new grad, which I was at one point. I couldn't even imagine someone coming to me and be like, "Hey, man, we'll give you a boutique investment bank. Like you don't even have to put money down, right?"
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, "I'd take that deal all day long." So I mean, absolutely incredible. So what you're doing, and I'm listening to this more from my venture capital side, is you're disrupting how the industry is structured. So you're saying the industry doesn't do this, right? The industry doesn't offer new doctors equity. I'm building a practice where we offer equity. The industry margins are low. I'm offering a high margin thing. The industry is broken out, really general practice or emergency care. I found a new sector somewhere in between of that.
Yeah.
So you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So we call you a disruptor.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, VCs love it, right? You're the rebel. You're the rebel of your industry. You're disrupting everything, making trouble. But you and everybody tied to you is going to make a few bucks for all that trouble you make. So that's absolutely admirable.
Until you said that, I have never thought about that. But I just do my job, and I want to keep the field going, and I want to provide better environment for this generation as well as the next generation.
That's I mean, heck, if I wasn't my career, I'm like, man, this is you. I'm like, maybe I'll be a vet one day. But no, that's absolutely cool. So, as we start to wrap things up, is there anything else that you'd like to add, or you think our listeners would like to know? Anything at all?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, this is a great opportunity, and come invest with us and grow with us. And I also would like to thank you, Ryan, for what you have been helping us and also helping our team to understand different aspects of fundraising and also how we can manage those funds. So it's been really a pleasure to work with you, brother. I call you brother because we have that camaraderie that we developed with him in the last 1 year. And I think, thank you so much for what you do for the investment community, which is huge again. So I think, it's going to grow more stronger and stronger. We are already talking about some things. So, which I would like you to share sometime later. But yeah, I think, it's going to grow bigger and bigger.
Well, thank you. You're very kind. And yes, as you've learned over the last year that I've known you, I am more than willing to share my opinions. Absolutely. Sure. Well, that's enough for me, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our time with me and Dr. Siva. Follow that. Be a disruptor in your industry. Find where the gaps are. Be a rebel in your world. Look to medical investments. Yeah. Heck, who knew?
Yeah.
And you too will have the skills and the insight you need in your pursuit of making billions.